the broadcast. He's joining us live from Adelaide in Australia. Rajendra Pandey, thank you for speaking with us today. What do you make of the arrest of Chinmoy Krishnan Das in Bangladesh?
Yes, namaste, and thank you for giving us a spot and hearing our voice in this particular scenario wherein we can see the voices have been oppressed for, it's a multiple telecast. I think it's a repeat telecast of what has happened. Every year the same instance happens. It is not a new story. And what hurts me that it just repeats itself. And every time we are sick and tired of having protests and peaceful marches in Australia to express our sympathies with the Hindus and specifically ISKCON in Bangladesh. And I just can't. It belies any fact that how can they get away by doing this? And I think there is a historical reason that we all know, but more importantly, there is an ingrained hatred towards Hindus in Bangladesh. And the government has time and again, we have seen the previous government, the current government, the government machinery has failed to protect Hindus in Bangladesh. And this is not only in Bangladesh, this is a repeat telecast of what happens in Canada, in USA, in Australia, in Adelaide, in Melbourne in January 2023, the ISKCON temple was attacked by Khalistani. So this is not a new phenomenon, and we just keep talking about this and with little or no action from whether the Bangladesh government or any international body. There are other places wherein people are killed and they're dying, whether it's Syria, Gaza, Ukraine, and there is a lot of voices, but when Hindus die, there is no pain, no remorse, or not even a fake tear by any government or a world body.
Does that shock you, the fact that there is global silence on the atrocities that the Hindu community is facing, that there is no condemnation from world leaders or from world organizations on this very pressing problem?
Unfortunately, the answer is no, and you would hopefully agree with me that this lack of any reaction by these governments or the world body is not new. We anticipated, we expected. In fact, we are okay with that. We get along with it. There is so less media coverage. So I would really like to congratulate your media channel for covering it. How many media channels are actually trying to talk about this? None at all, at least not in Australia. If one person, again, I'm not comparing lives, one fake incident is reported and it just goes into the first page of Sydney Morning Herald or the mainstream SBS, the government media broadcaster, which is supposed to be independent, like Australian Broadcasting Corporation, whether it's ABC in Australia or in America, none of them cover these atrocities that are committed, and even freedom of press and arrest of a journalist. Can you imagine in any part of the world? Thank goodness we live in those times wherein media is free, but in Bangladesh it happens, and it happens without any reaction from anyone. So I think I'm appalled, but we expect government to do nothing, and that is why it is important for us to take action. In fact, from our own Vishwa Hindu Parishad community, we have been talking about taking our own delegation and observer group to Bangladesh to monitor and report and observe and report on the atrocities. We are creating and collating details of violences that have been committed in an Excel spreadsheet of how many people died, what has happened to them, and trying to document that genocide, I would say, because I would not expect the government to do anything. And I think I'm not a political commentator. I'll leave it to those people who are expert in that about why it is happening. But as a social organization, as a community organization, we do believe that we all, including media and us, we all have a responsibility to take some action because others will not report on it.
What action do you believe the Indian government should take? What are your expectations from the Indian government on this matter?
I think again, I would be very careful about putting any burden on Indian government, because again, this is diplomacy, and India has a lot of stake into Bangladesh, and it's again riddled with cross connections. So, for example, the aid to the the Adani power projects and the support that we give to Bangladesh government is supposed to help. Just what we're doing in Nepal as well. There are a lot of strategic outcomes of everything that we do in Bangladesh. So. However, now the time has come that Indian government has to do something. about the aid and support that we provide to Bangladesh should be withdrawn, or at least threatened to be withdrawn. India does have some levers, unlike other countries or even Australia, that India can pull to make sure that we do keep the government accountable, no matter which government that is. The human rights monitoring, India does have the ability of putting diplomatic pressure. Thanks to Modi government, they have a lot of good relations with every country almost. And I don't see why we cannot put pressure into the new Trump administration to engage with Bangladeshi authorities at the highest levels, to ensure accountability and protect the minority rights. But sanctions is one big thing. The last thing I would say is, which we even talk in Australia about the human rights and the asylum and refugee policies. So Australia again is a proud recipient of a lot of human right, refugees who are fleeing from whether they're Myanmar or Ukraine or Syria. Why can't we extend that to Bangladeshi Hindus? And we have heard about the progress, the law that has been passed to accept Hindus from Bangladesh, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, but we haven't seen anything on the ground. Again, I'm far removed, so I would be very careful of saying that nothing is happening. But we don't see that from what my connections in India tell me, that we don't have much traction and application of those policies. But even I would say that countries like India and US and Australia and Canada, we all should be accepting refugees and support to those who are facing religious persecution in Bangladesh.
Finally, where do you see things going in the next few weeks and days?
Unfortunately, again, as I said, it will go. My worry is it'll get worse. I cited to you an example that where the ISKCON temple was attacked in Australia. So what I have seen in the past is these events are a precursor to what happens across the world. When a temple is vandalized or a priest is attacked, that violence actually spreads. So the first recipient of that hatred is West Bengal or the states in India. And you've seen that. Again, I don't have to tell you, but we also in Australia face the ripple effect of the attacks on Hindus. But it will get worse. The social media, misinformation, disinformation, the political rallies turning into targeted attacks. All those things my worry is it will get worse. The government is not, we cannot see any evidence of government interfering or doing or taking any action to stop what is happening. And if the government does not act, there is no way things can get better. So we have to brace ourselves and prepare ourselves to make sure that we are prepared to see to support those Hindus who will unfortunately be on the burning end of the issue.
Let me quickly thank you there then, Rajendra Pandey, for joining us